If you're a startup founder, you know the moment I'm talking about. It's probably late at night, you're the only one up, and you're staring at a spreadsheet. And in that moment, there's really only one question that pushes everything else aside. We're going to break that question down right now.
See, this isn't just some academic exercise. It's not just another metric for a pitch deck. This is probably the single most important question you can ask about your company. Because the answer is its life expectancy.
That's what your burn rate really boils down to. It is a countdown clock, ticking away right over your head. And learning to understand it, to really master it, that's the one thing that separates survival from becoming just another statistic.
Now look, the good news is that the math itself isn't all that complicated. The implications of that math, though, they are absolutely life or death for your business. Okay, so there are two terms you've got to know. First is gross burn. Super straightforward. It's every single dollar your company spends in a month. Salaries, rent, software, coffee, all of it. But the number that really matters, that's your net burn. This is your gross burn minus any revenue you're bringing in. Now, if you're pre-revenue, these two numbers are the same. But the second you start making money, net burn becomes your true cash deficit each month. It's the number that defines your timeline.
And that number, your net burn, is what directly tells you your runway. The formula couldn't be simpler. It's your total cash in the bank divided by your monthly net burn. That's it. That number tells you how many months you have left to live.
Let's make this real. Imagine you're sitting on $500,000 in the bank. After you count all your revenue, you're still losing $50,000 a month. Well, that means you have exactly 10 months. 10 months to either grow your revenue, slash your costs, or raise more capital before the lights go out. It's simple math, but with absolutely existential implications.
So, you've calculated your number. Great. But the next critical question is that number good or bad? Because, in the last few years, the goalposts for what's good haven't just moved. They've been launched into a completely different stratosphere. Let's look at what investors are demanding right now.
All right, this is your quick reality check. At pre-seed, you're probably a couple of people. You're looking at maybe 10 to 25K a month. At the seed stage, that median number jumps up to around 75K. And by Series A, with a team of maybe 15 or 20, you're often looking at $250,000 or more going out the door every single month. So how do your numbers stack up against this?
But here's the thing, and this is so important. Investors today are looking way past your simple burn rate. They are obsessed with efficiency, and they measure that with something called the burn multiple. It's your net burn divided by your net new annual recurring revenue. In other words, how many dollars are you burning to earn one new dollar of future revenue? Let's say you burn $100,000 in a quarter and you add $50,000 in new ARR. Your burn multiple is 2x. You're spending $2 to make $1.
And this chart, this really lays out the new standard. If you're below a 1x burn multiple, meaning you're spending less than $1 to make $1, that is the new gold standard, especially for AI companies. But if you get above 2x, you are going to find it incredibly difficult, maybe even impossible to raise your next round.
Now, take a look at this number. $200 million. It seems kind of random, right? But it's actually the key to understanding this new efficiency bar that has every single VC in the world totally recalibrating their expectations.
Because that's the annual revenue of Midjourney, the AI image company. And get this, they did it with a team of just 11 people. This is the kind of mind-blowing capital efficiency that has completely reset the game. This is the new bar everyone is measured against.
This obsession with extreme efficiency leads us straight to a critical framework from Y Combinator's Paul Graham. It's a simple, binary question that really determines whether you control your own destiny. Are you default alive or are you default dead?
And Graham's example here is, well, it's chilling. Look at these two companies. They're identical. Same cash, same expenses. The only difference, one is growing its revenue at 10% a month, the other at 9%. That single percentage point means the first company hits profitability with cash to spare. The second company runs out of money just before it gets there. One is default alive, in control of its fate. The other is default dead, completely dependent on the whims of investors.
And here's the part that should really make you sit up straight. He says half the founders he talks to don't even know which path they're on. You absolutely cannot afford to be in that half. You have to know.
Okay, so let's turn this diagnosis into an actual actionable playbook. Because, knowing the problem is one thing, but you need a treatment plan that works in today's environment. The whole macro environment has shifted.
I mean, yeah, VC funding is showing some signs of life, but look where the money is actually going. Nearly half of all venture capital is now pouring into AI. So for everybody else, the competition for capital is just fiercer than ever.
And here's the direct result of that fierce competition: 696 days. That is the median time between funding rounds right now. We're talking almost 2 full years that you need to survive on the cash you have in the bank.
Which leads to this crucial point. The old advice is totally obsolete. If you think you just need 12 or 18 months of runway, you are setting yourself up for disaster in this market. The new minimum, the new safe zone, is 24 to 30 months of cash, period.
So this is your quick diagnostic checklist. If any of these sound familiar, you need to pay attention. Is your burn multiple over 2x? Is your runway under a year with no active fundraising in sight? Is your spending actually growing faster than your revenue? These are the flashing red lights on your dashboard telling you that you are in the danger zone.
So what do you do? First, you have to know your numbers cold, not monthly, weekly. Second, hire slower, way slower than you think you should. Just remember, Airbnb waited 4 months after YC to make their very first hire. Third, cut the fancy perks that don't really move the needle. Fourth, renegotiate everything. Your software vendors, they expect it. And fifth, and this is the most important, make the hard choices now to get to default alive while you still have the cash to do it.
All right, let's wrap this up by focusing on what all of this really means for how investors think today. Because understanding their mindset is absolutely key to your survival.
It all comes down to these 3 words. The era of growth at all costs, it's over. Investors today are rewarding capital efficiency, they're rewarding clear unit economics, and a tangible, believable path to actually making a profit. They are funding real, sustainable businesses again.
So, look, your burn rate isn't just a number in a spreadsheet. It is a countdown. The founders who win are the ones who know exactly how much time is on that clock, and they make every single second count. So, it all comes down to this, and this question is for you. You've seen the math. What are you going to do about it?